Hi, my name is Mollie Maxon. I'm a swim instructor and a daughter and a sister, and most importantly, a child of the one true King. So when I was growing up, I was kind of lonely a lot. That led me to seek connection with people that it might not have been the best group for me, the healthiest things. My parents, they didn't really know the gospel themselves, so we sometimes would go to church on Christmas and Easter, but I never really understood the gospel. I just thought if you were a good person, you go to heaven, and if you're a bad person, you go to the other place. I didn't really think of anything beyond that. In high school, I was a swimmer. My biggest thing was I wanted to feel a sense of belonging. I think I was only concerned with myself and how I felt and my own happiness, which is ironic because when I was so focused on that, that was the most unhappy time of my life. I began experimenting with marijuana and drinking with friends on the weekends. I think those activities led me even more further from God and more depressed. In college, I was taking a humanities class and there was some ancient Greek, and I became super fascinated by that. I actually did a minor in ancient Greek. All the worldviews that you see dominating our culture right now, those were being introduced to me in college. So that's the worldview that I was following. I had no idea about a biblical worldview. I didn't know that I had been created for a purpose. I just never really considered the supernatural to be real. I thought I was smart for that. I was becoming more and more hardened by the world, and I started experiencing a lot of anxiety. I went to a psychiatrist and he prescribed medication to me after the first visit, but then I became super dependent on it. I was just making more mistakes at work. Everything was falling apart. Then the pandemic happened. Not only was I struggling in secret alone, but the world was looking completely different. It was really hard to be struggling in silence. I felt like I had gotten myself into this situation and it was up to me to get myself out. And that just seemed impossible. In the summer of 2021, everything just reached a breaking point. The medication had run out early and I didn't know how I was gonna get more. And I just had this sense, okay, it's time. And I came clean to my mom and my dad. It's like this communication had opened again. So when I first started getting healthy, I started swimming at the Cal Lutheran University pool, and they needed swim instructors. I soon found out that I was a natural. It was so much fun, and I feel fulfilled. My mom had a friend who shared the gospel with her, and I remember her coming into my room and trying to explain the Bible's real. I was thinking, you're crazy, what are you saying? But I knew that there was some changes going on for her. She had seen Rocky Peak based on the cross. And because I was on this new journey and my mom was helping me so much, I said, okay, sure, I'll come to church with you. When I first went to Rocky Peak with my mom, I had no idea what to expect. The lights were dim. It was like a concert. I loved it. Pastor Michael was mentioning the ancient Greek root word for one of the terms. I just felt a tug to pay attention. Whatever was being said, it just rang so true. I felt that peace. At first, I was a little intimidated by Jesus. I found it easier to say God than Jesus. The more I read about Jesus and learned about him, the more I realized he was very strong and very firm, but it's always with a gentle hand. I was baptized in 2023, and it was amazing. I was so excited to be baptized. Things were going well, but I didn't have a friend group. I knew we're not supposed to be doing life alone. When I first heard about Life Group, I was at church and I really felt I'm gonna look and see if there's any groups. When I checked, there was a group with one space available, 2535 in Simi Valley. It was perfect for me. I said, okay, well, obviously this spot's for me. The first night I went, Everyone was so welcoming. There was a girl that had read like a lot of the same books as me, and we immediately started chatting and connected. Even though we were from different walks of life, we all had this one thing in common, that we were pursuing Jesus. That life group was my first reintroduction to friends. It's not just like I'm going to church by myself on Sunday, it's that I have this group of people that I'm accountable to each week. It reminds me that I'm not alone. I just feel so encouraged by other believers and people who have been walking with Jesus longer than me. I like that it's not like a teacher-student. It's like we're all students together and we're all just trying to be more like Jesus.